Hey you, it's CovertGoBlue, and I am back from MagicCon Minneapolis, and there's only one thing to talk about. Rotation is canceled. What? What? Okay, so yeah, it's... where do we begin on this? Okay, let's just start from the top. In an announcement that came out, I believe it was Saturday? Yeah, it was definitely Saturday. In an announcement that came out Saturday, Wizards of the Coast, titled Revitalizing Standard, Wizards of the Coast has announced that they are changing the way standard rotation happens. And some of you may not have seen it. I'm going to read a bit of it and we're going to get into it. So basically standard, we need standard to be good. Standard in paper is kind of dead. We know that. That's kind of what all this is saying. Standard in paper is dead, but standard is, and you like this, standard sees more play on Magic the Gathering Arena every day than individual games in any other format. Booyah. Still number one on Arena, but pretty much gone in most stores. So they are taking steps. Wizards is taking steps to try to bring paper standard back. That is a big thing to understand as far as understanding the objective of what they're doing here. It's not about Arena. It's about paper. And they say today is step one. There will be other steps. Curious to see what those are. They haven't announced them yet, but they will in the future. Step one. That step is that we're going to extend the life cycle of all cards in Standard by 1 year, starting with current Standard environment. Sets will rotate out every 3 years, rather than every 2 years. This means that with the release of Wilds of Eldraine, there will be no standard rotation for this year only. The following year in 2024 will rotate Crimson Vow, Midnight Hunt, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and Streets of New Capenna. Next year. Anybody else already looking to some of those rotations? I know I mentioned them in a recent video. You guys really lit me up in the comments for that. The same day that this announcement came out, there was a video talking about how I can't wait for Thalia to rotate, for example. Oopsie. So, and then here's an important follow-up note. Magic Arena will follow this change for Standard, but not Alchemy. Learn the full details from the Arena team. If I click this thing, it's going to say, in Alchemy, a whole bunch of stuff will rotate. In Standard, nothing will rotate this year. And then, all these sets will rotate in 2024 in September. All right. So, I mean, they then point out why they think that this is going to fix paper standard, which is it will give current standard cards more longevity. Time and again, we hear players want to play with cards they love and enjoy longer. Standard is our only rotating format, and while keeping it fresh is important, we also feel there's more effective middle ground. Yeah, cool. It will allow mechanics and archetypes to be more effectively built on over time. So this is an interesting thing. They say that with a longer window, they can find more opportunities to build up or revitalize archetypes. Coupled with the point above, we can lead to a more diverse, long-lasting archetypes and enough competitive churn to keep players engaged. Okay, and it I think it kind of says the same point in number 3, where it says it gives us stronger tools to create an environment where players are more colors and mechanic, like green, white, toxic, or blue, white soldiers, and less mid-range. With a larger card pool, the format can handle bigger swings with entire decks seeded at once. Seeded is a cool little inside baseball term. I'm not quite exactly sure what they mean with that. I think they just mean, stacked up, ready to go, powerful, something of that nature. But as I look over the current environment, I'm like, what do you mean less mid-range? Because it seems like every new card that comes into the format in this standard, like you think about like March of the Machines and stuff, how many, is black-white Phyrexians a deck? We just had 4 consecutive sets, not counting the cameos and the other sets, of Phyrexians, and the Phyrexian kind of theme deck is not a thing. The only thing that seems to be making a difference in competitive play is 1 or 2 of this card in a mid-range deck. You know, and I like Chandra fits in the mid-range deck. I guess there's a ramp deck now with like the invasion of Zendikar, right? So maybe 4 of them go in there. But I mean, honestly, isn't that kind of what the current larger pool keeps leaning towards? Is none of these themes are really worth exploring, and what we should be doing is just finding the 2 or 3 cards that are slightly better than the last 2 or 3 cards in the mid-range deck and swapping them, because that's what I feel like my standard building is like. So I guess they're saying that if they get 3 sets that they can introduce more toxic cards or more soldiers cards. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like if Phyrexians, if you were actually going to support Phyrexians and not just a big mid-range pool, it feels like Phyrexians should be playable now. They've had 4 sets devoted to them. Were you going to do 8 sets of Phyrexia? I don't know. So like this part I'm not like. This is the one. This is the argument here. It will give current standard cards more longevity. If this is a positive, then this is kind of carrying everything for me, because I don't buy quite into this. But we'll see what they do. Obviously, it's going to happen. We're going to find out what's going to happen. So the rest of this, no big announcements here, I would say. Nothing else super important down here, so we'll just stick to this. I have been getting messages all weekend while at the event asking what I think of this and what this is going to do to content, especially since one of the more recent videos on this channel was mentioning that I'm a commander player now, right? And I was going to move away from standard. They're like, did he already know? First of all, I didn't know. I had no idea about this. And there is at least one fan out there who knows that, because they found me in line. I was waiting in line for a booster draft event. Don't tell anyone. I was just picking up cards. I would never draft. Yeah. I was just picking up some cards. Anyway, I was waiting in line and I heard about this and I pulled up the announcement and I was mid-reading it, and somebody came up and was like, hey, CGB, will you sign this card? And I just looked at them like, I'm sorry. My whole world just got changed. They canceled rotation. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, it's okay. You're cool. You're cool. Just be cool. I'm not okay with a canceled rotation. That's a big bummer for me. It's very disappointing. There's no way around that. I can't swing that in a positive way. This announcement, like I mentioned, is meant for paper players. I'm fortunate to be in a position that I was able to talk to a Wizards employee that very day, somebody pretty high up in Wizards, not the people who made this specific announcement, but was, in the room. And yeah, there isn't, we agree, like there's not really a big plus for Arena players. Arena, we play the format the most. We beat the format into the ground. We love rotation. There's nothing better than rotation on Arena, and not having a rotation is absolutely brutal. So yeah, this is not a good announcement for standard, and for Arena standard, for Arena players of standard, of which myself and many of you obviously are. This is a bad announcement for us. There's no way to spin that. We are taking the L on this one. Is it good for paper standard? This isn't the only thing they're doing. I would say this on its own, I'm not convinced. If you could prove that the number one problem and the reason people don't want to play standard is because it's too expensive to invest into a format that rotates every 2 years, if you could prove that and this helped, good. There will need to be more, because as it is, standard is still a mid-range fest. New cards don't really do much. It's just kind of ugh. And obviously design is on the hook for this too. Like, can you imagine Eldraine being legal for another year? So they can't go back to that. They can't do that again unless they're going to ban a lot of stuff, which that's the other speculation. Are they going to ban a lot of stuff? I don't see a lot of implication here that things are going to start getting banned. And the biggest problem, if you're going to shake up standard with bans, is that right now there's like 7 cards that are just such outliers in power level that you'd have to ban probably all of them before other cards could really step up, because you'd just be playing more like just good mid-range stuff around those cards. Now, a lot of this talk about mid-range is a whole other conversation, but I'm thinking mostly of what Wizards is probably looking at, which is data from the best of 3 environment. Mid-range isn't nearly as powerful in best of 3 as just good old mono red, and that's the other thing. Guys, like, why would people add new cards to mono red? It's already hard to get them to add new cards to mono red. They've already got Lightning Strike, Play with Fire, Stoke the Flames. They're not going to need another burn spell of any kind. They've already got Swift Spear. They've already got Kumano. They're not going to need another 1-drop. You'll have to print a pretty broken card to get that deck to change even a little. Are people really going to play that for 3 years with no changes? Or are they finally just going to get bored and walk away? I guess we'll see. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Like I said, nothing good here for Arena players. This is a straight up L. I guess there is one thing you could try to spin as a good thing. It's that Alchemy is rotating. Alchemy is rotating. Did I mention that Alchemy is actually rotating? So the whole idea, and I think that they've done a good job making this semi-clear. Alchemy is designed for our crowd. It really is a product that they tried to build for us, and I guess they did such a bad job of it. They turned everybody off so quickly that the community won't change their mind about it. But Alchemy will be rotating. I thought there was a list here of what they rotate. Yeah, like in September they're dropping Innistrad, they're dropping Neon Dynasty, they're dropping Streets, and they're dropping Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. Now, you guys, some of you know my whole history with Alchemy. Those who don't, I was really on board. I thought all of this and the mission of Alchemy was a good one. This kind of a format that updates a lot, does a lot of cool things. Around here, it got weird. The cards were weird. Didn't really like them. Way too powerful. Way too pushed. And then here, it just, I was done. Out the window, hated everything about this set. It hit me the wrong way in so many ways that I was very much off Alchemy. But after that, it's been pretty, a Crucius and a Rusko aside, the Alchemy format's been pretty mellow, and there isn't even one for March of the Machine because of the Aftermath. So if enough of you that actually wish there was a rotation and want to see some format change and want to see some stuff happen would watch the Alchemy videos, we could have a rotation. I'm open to it, especially with this going. This was the thing I didn't like about Alchemy. I thought that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. But I'd be down. The problem is the community at large, y'all just won't really give it a shot. You won't change your mind on this. I could swear sometimes the Magic community, who leaves comments on YouTube, is a bunch of grumpy old 60-year-olds, because that's what it feels like. Will not give a second look. So I'm curious if they will, now that Standard is literally going to be the same stuff for 3 years, another year with no rotation, whereas Alchemy is going to rotate, and we could play a format without Fable and play some new cards. We'll see. I will, but a lot of people wondering, what will you do? I'm getting that question a lot. How am I going to react? Does this mean I'm going to become a Commander player faster? I'm not going to promise that I won't. I'm definitely going to continue to pursue my passions in Commander and such, but I'm also not the type of person to just walk away from a challenge. I'm probably going to keep playing Standard. I'm probably going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a try, because even though that this announcement is quite the punch in the gut, it's not like they're saying I can't play. They're just saying you're going to play a lot of the same stuff longer. If that is a net positive for Magic players and Magic the Gathering, I can work with that. And it's really 1 year without rotation, so one really nasty year. And I lived through Eldraine. There was that time where Magic rotated, but Eldraine was still legal, and everybody wanted Eldraine to rotate a year earlier, and it didn't. And we spent another year in Eldraine, and I lived through that. I showed up every day. It's showing up for work, and it's not even a hard job. I'd play some Magic. Yes, I get very salty losing the same cards over and over. I'll get over it. If enough of you really still want Standard and won't give Alchemy a shot and won't give Historic Brawl a shot, if that is really where you're at, I'll keep giving it a shot, because I do want the majority of you who enjoy what you enjoy to have what you enjoy. As much as I kind of poke at you guys sometimes for being I poked at you in this video for being grumpy old men, I still do care a lot about your experience, and I do make these videos not for myself so much as I do for you, and I will continue to hang in there to the best of my ability. We'll see how it goes. I'll check in often. Subscribe to this channel. This is where I talk about this kind of stuff. for now, yeah, try to keep calm and carry on, I suppose. Let's go out there and play some Magic and see what happens. We've got the new Aftermath cards coming out this week, so maybe one or two of those will go in a mid-range deck. We could call it a whole new deck. We'll create a whole new thumbnail and boom, new deck. We also had a Pro Tour that went off that actually looked amazing this last weekend. So we're going to talk about some Pro Tour decks, maybe make some videos with some of those before we have a whole new format anyway. And we have Lord of the Rings coming out this summer. Probably going to be doing a lot of Historic Brawl with that. Although, you know, I will probably keep testing the waters of alchemy, maybe with some of those sweet Lord of the Rings cards, see what happens. But I have a feeling that you guys, because people don't change their minds and don't want positive change, they just want nothing to change. That's what they prefer. I have a feeling that alchemy is still going to be a no-go no matter what. So here we are. So thank you for watching this. Get ready for more standard. Sad that we have no rotation, but there will be an epic rotation the year after, and I will continue to try to make the entertainment as best I can, because that's what we're here for. And if it's good in the long run for Magic and Magic players, I'll take the L on this one. There are plenty of W's that we can have. So talk to you later. Thanks for watching. You're cool.